It's been a really long time since I found a Ram Power Wagon. This is probably one of the hardest trucks to find and review, and the reason why is because they're just not building these as quick as I would like them to, obviously. But number one, they're just really selling quickly, and number two, they're just not a big volume product for Stellantis. So today I found a unique color, and this one has some pretty cool options that I haven't seen in the past. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Special thanks to Apple Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hanover, PA. Be sure to ask for Travis Crowl if you are interested. So here's a window sticker for this 2022 Ram 2500 Power Wagon Crew Cab. And it is going to have a base price of $56,690. Now the color is going to be flame red with black interior. And just here's a quick listing of some of the standard equipment. And starting off the options down below, you do have the towing technology group for $1525, and the Power Wagon off-road package is $1995, so it gives you those rock rails with the step pad, and I'll show that to you in the video. It also has a 17 by 8 inch beadlock capable wheels, it says. I would like to see an 8.5 or a 9 for the wheels personally for the width. This does have the tow mode digital rear view, and then up top it continues. And then this has the Power Wagon Level 2 equipment group. There is a Level 3 too, so just keep that in mind. But this one's $58.45, and then here's everything that's going to come in that package. Down below, this one does have the LED bed lighting, and this does have the 8.4 inch display with navigation at $795. Spray and bed liner for $600. Destination comes in at $1795 with a total price of $70,355.
So one unique thing about the Power Wagon is this front bumper, and I gotta tell you guys, like, I've always liked that they did a steel bumper finish in like this matte finish. It really does make it look a little bit more aggressive, and of course this grille is going to be unique to the Power Wagon as well. This one does have that camera view system, as you saw, so you do have a front facing camera. And overall, I mean, this truck is just, pretty much unchanged from 2019. I mean, you do have that worn winch down below here. It does have that synthetic cable. And this is how you control that system too. They do give you the tow hooks down below. And one thing that I like about the Power Wagon is you do get these standard LED headlights with the daytime running light. And then down below here, you do have LED fog lights too. You have a hood graphic, and they do black out the emblems on the side here. Now, one thing I've always wanted to see on Power Wagons is a bigger tire setup. These are essentially 33-inch tires, and I think a 35 or even a 37-inch tire would really just make this thing look so much better. But the reason why they do just add 33s is just to allow for more wheel articulation. So these Wrangler Goodyear tires are a good setup if you are planning on truly going off-road with this truck. They are going to be a LT 285 7017. And you do have these beadlock wheels, which is newer, I should say, for I think 2021 on. You do have Bilstein shocks front and rear too, and you do have lockers front and rear on the Power Wagon. You can tell that this is a heavy duty truck from this badge here, and because it does have the tow mirrors, and the biggest telltale is the clearance lights there. Now this truck does have that off-road package, so you have the rock rails on the side here with the step, and they're really close to the side of the cab too. And look how far back they go too. That's really, really good for just protecting this cab if you do really plan on going off-road. Now that we're down here, you can kind of see this truck does have a lot more skid plates to protect a lot of the things down here, like the gas tank and some of the full drive system, drive shaft, all that good stuff. And here's a better look at those rails there too. It is like a step too, so you have a little bit of space to put your foot down. They do color match the door handles And because you have that 360 camera, but you do have a camera just below the mirror there. You do have more decals on the side of the truck too. There aren't any on the roof, and it wouldn't really matter because this truck sits so high. You do have a 31-gallon fuel tank. And yeah, I mean, on the Rams, you do have a coiled suspension out back. Again, this is going to help with wheel articulation too. You can unlock the front sway bar on this truck, so just keep that in mind too. I didn't mention that when we were up there. Now, I bet you do have the darkened tail lights, and they spill out Ram and Power Wagon on the tailgate, which looks really good too. And you do have a backup camera right here. And something that's new is they do have lights below here for your conventional hitch. Now, this truck does have this camera mode here, as you saw on the window sticker. And you do have a 12-pin connector. This is going to be for video. And then your standard 7-pin. You still get the Class 5 receiving hitch on this truck, although it does tow less than a Ram 1500. It's still, you know, adequate to have that since all the other HDs have it. You do have your 400-watt plug out back, and these LED lights were an option too. And don't forget the spray and bed liner. You do see the parking sensors down below, and as you saw up front, that black bumper is pretty much the same as the front one. You don't really notice how tall this truck is, but if I were to pull this Ram 2500 over here next to this truck, you would clearly see how much taller this truck is in comparison. It's a really beefy truck. Now, this truck does have the smart key system too, so if you push this button here, it will lock the doors, and if you slide your hand in, it'll unlock too. One thing I noticed about the Power Wagon that's a little different from the regular HDs is this radius arm. This radius arm is a little bit different from what you see on other HD trucks. And I wonder if they give you a little bit more clearance if you did decide to go to a taller tire. I'm just speculating there, but it's definitely different from what I've seen on the other trucks. So this is the only powertrain available for the Power Wagon. This does have a 6.4 liter Hemi. Made it to an 8-speed transmission. It's going to be 410 horsepower, 429 pound-feet of torque. Now, that 8-speed does have some pretty deep gears in first and second. And I will say, this truck can only get a 410 rear axle. So that's the only one available for this truck, which is a good thing. And I noticed that they are using Mopar belts right here. I don't think I've ever seen that in the past. So something interesting that I found. For the most part, this interior is pretty much a little bit different from what I've noticed in the past. Like, this piece here is slightly updated. It has a nice little accent, that little grayish color. And let's check out some of the appearance inside the interior too. You do have soft touch up top here, but for the most part, this is all hard plastic. And stepping in, like I said, this is a little bit taller than the regular heavy duty, so it definitely is a little bit harder to get into if you're a little shorter. This one does have the power seats, and they do spell out Power Wagon on the side here too. Looks like they have some vinyl inserts on the seat too. And this interior really reminds me of like a Laramie, basically. Let's go ahead and start it up. Now, this truck, as you saw, was $70,000. You can get the 12-inch display, but I actually like this truck and how it's optioned. It's like perfectly priced. Obviously, if you get the 12-inch display, it's going to be probably a few more $1,000s, so just keep that in mind. But man, I like how they spell out Power Wagon up top. Love the gauge cluster. Everything looks just perfect on this truck. And something new for 2021, I believe it was the off-road pages. So it does show you the front axle locker and the rear axle locker, and then sway bar connected. So this is probably something that I'm really most happy about, and I probably would like to see the 12-inch display just because of that. Now it shows it a little bit better on this screen, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. But you do have that front axle locker, and it shows that it's unlocked, sway bar connected, and that rear axle locker is unlocked too. If you want to lock them, you do have a front and rear locker here, and this is how you disconnect that sway bar. This truck does have downhill assist. And one thing I like about this truck is you do have a mechanical shifter. This is the only thing I kind of would like for them to change. I don't like this style. I like to have the, column shifter personally, but hey. Let's move on. You do have some gauges that you can look at too. Again, you can look at some stuff inside of here, and they do give you the same gauge summary on this side too. I like that they added this on the Uconnect 5 system. I feel like it's a little bit more easier to use. If you do plan on going off-road, they do have a forward-facing camera too, so if you need to check your angle of approach, you have that. Same thing goes for the out back. You have one for the bed, you have one on the sides, so if you want to back up your trailer, you can do that using this system. You do have this camera view too. Now, I don't think I showed it to you out back, but there is a input. So if you want to hook up your trailer and you have a camera on the back of it, you could basically see the back of your trailer if you plug into that input back in the rear. This truck does have navigation on this 8.4-inch display, and your home screen, you can set up different views for it too. And I know a lot of people like the 12-inch display a little bit better, but this is very usable. And like I said, you can set up the pages however you like, just to have a little more information set up here too. So you can add a page if you like, and if you want, you can swipe too to have more views. Just below the screen, you do have your heated and cooled seats. That's one thing I will say about having the 8.4. That's a big advantage. You do have these buttons which are easier to get to, like your heated steering wheel. If you had the 12-inch display, you have to go through the system, which is not hard because then they have it all listed here. But it's just nice to have buttons, outside the screen, in my opinion. Dual climate control, and you do have some of your towing features, traction control, and your front and rear parking sensors too. Now, even further below, you do have 4 USBs, place to put coin holders in. It's not deep storage, but you do have storage out back here, and they do give you a power plug on the passenger side. And you have a plaque there for Power Wagon, and then this does cover your storage up top. Pretty much what you've seen in the past. Your normal glove box, and because this is a 6-passenger, this does flip up to give you extra seating up front. And here's some storage, coin holder, and one more USB inside this area. Somehow Ram managed to get you some heated seats out back, so your outboard seats are going to be heated. You do have 2 USBs, those are going to be Type-C, and you do have a power plug out back. They do have some storage in the floor, and these two come out too. And pretty much the same design as you saw up front. You do have a 60/40 bench, and on this side you have some storage, but there's a subwoofer on that side, so unfortunately it's not really usable. But you can flip these out to create a flat floor surface, especially with this hump here in the middle. And they do add 2 cup holders, and I didn't mention up front, but you do have LED lights throughout the interior. So let's take a look at the numbers. This truck does have a gross axle weight rating up front at 4,750 pounds. The rear is going to be 6,200 pounds, and the gross fuel weight rating is going to be 8,565 pounds. And all in, this truck does have a decent payload with the options at 1,308 pounds. If you were to get the Ram boxes, that would reduce your payload capacity, so just keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and take this truck for a quick drive. And like I said, I'll just give you my impressions because I haven't driven a Power Wagon in a long time. One of my friends, Mikey P, you guys have seen him on my channel. He actually has a Power Wagon, and I've driven his a few times, and yeah, it's such a beast. So let's go ahead and see how this one drives. Alrighty, so initially one thing I noticed when I drive this truck is I do feel like I'm sitting a lot higher. That's the first thing I do notice when I'm inside of a Power Wagon. I believe the truck is either 2 or 3 inches taller than the standard Ram HDs, and I could feel that, that increase. And overall, these seats are just like what I have in my Ram 3500 Limited. All right, here we go. Yeah, this truck feels really good. Even having a different ride height, it really does feel solid. And that's something too I think that Ram did well. Having a taller tire would of course increase the cost, and it would also affect the way the truck handles and the manners on the road. But again, you lose some of that wheel articulation too, so I think that's kind of why they keep with the 33-inch tires. It doesn't look as good as it could look, but it definitely does have like that stellar look that you would expect from a big burly HD truck going off-road. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this truck is quick. And that's one thing about the Power Wagon. A lot of times, I showed you guys the numbers on the door. When you think about the Trimmer, the AT4 from GM, the Power Wagon's a different truck. This is a purpose-built truck. I've said this 100 times in a lot of my videos, and it's not really built to the same standard as those other competitors. They're not really even competitors because they reduced the gross vehicle weight rating of this truck, because it's not about towing, it's not about performance in that segment. It's all about having the right manners when you do plan on going off-road. If you work on a farm, or if you live on a farm, whatever, if you go off-road a lot just because of where you live at, this is a better truck. I think this truck, it feels really comfortable. It's already modified enough to where if you need to lock the front and rear, or if you need to disconnect that sway bar to get more articulation, it's all done for you. And it's a lightweight truck. I mean, this truck having a low 8,500 pound GVWR, if you subtract that 1,306 pound payload, that's going to give you the curb weight of it. So it's not that heavy. And the overall suspension is different from what you saw as I showed you on the radius arm. It's a different radius arm. It does have a lift, and yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of good features. Just don't expect to get good fuel economy in this. Don't expect this truck to handle good on high speeds, but it does really feel good in and around the city too. That's a good thing too. When you go off road, having a diesel is not something you want, because going at low speeds for too long, you start having emission problems with the diesel. So that's why Ram does not offer that Cummins in this one. And of course, it would affect the weight of this truck too. So all in all, I think it's a good option for people who just want a HD truck that they're going to take off road every once in a while.